Hello, everybody. I was just thinking about uh, a certain complication in debating a complicated topic, an unfathomable complication. And that is when two people debating a topic are not on an equal ground as far as their immersion in the research, the contemporary, latest work done on that topic is not on the same ground. The effort they put in conducting the research for whatever motion they are for the motion, against the motion, regardless of that, if they're for something or against something, and if they haven't done the same amount of homework necessary, it becomes a dogfight. That's one challenge debating a complicated topic, and most people withdraw from debating it. And but then there's some people who are unfazed by any of it, and they continue to do it. They will not shy away from debating a complicated topic, knowing that most people are not in a contemporary state of awareness on that topic, with an intention that they learn. The others who are not in awareness, probably because of their lifestyle choices, you can't expect to have a great debate with somebody on any topic, if that somebody is doing a 9 to 5 on a totally different topic and then coming back home to Netflix on a totally different topic, while you are 24 hours mostly through the month, just really pursuing that topic. You want to understand the truth of that topic. One such topic is feminism, patriarchy. These are two such topics. They're interwoven, but unto themselves, they're they're so vast that you could almost do a PhD in each. And also, they're extremely complicated because they are now woven into laws, and all over the world, the laws have become gender biased because of the backlash of feminists all over the world, and the men supporting those feminists, and for all the right reasons. That was fair enough. That was the need of that hour. Today in 2020, the problem is, especially for urban regions of the world, it's like, if somebody makes a law that the kind of law probably that may have existed or may have been created to curb the sati pratha, which was an ancient pratha in India, where a woman would set herself ablaze after the death of her husband. It was a ritual. Not all across India, but maybe somewhere it was. Now, to abolish it, maybe they may have set up some laws, I don't know. And it's abolished now. You don't need to continue with those laws because maybe they may have some consequences for the other party, whereby to press charges against the other party, evidences may not be necessary. The way rape laws are treated today. Evidences are not necessary. A man is assumed to have done the crime if he's accused, and accusations become really simple. You just go and make a complaint. You don't have to prove anything if you're a woman. Not a scratch on your finger. So that makes matters very complicated for men across the world. And why not? If you keep putting men behind the bars, you'll keep putting men in prison without even an iota of evidence against men, just because you have written something into the law that gives this Brahmastra level power to the woman across the world. Fair enough, you did it when times were such. Now times are changing. Please synchronize your law with the changing times, or you will end up killing so many innocent men. So when you try to worry about the lives of sons in the world, all sons in the world, there is a minority of sons that are rapists, and a minuscule minority that could do such a heinous crime. It's impossible to do this crime by most men. Just look around you. A man could maybe ogle at you, could look at you incorrectly, could make you uncomfortable with his words, may even do a crime as bad as groping you, touching you, perhaps even forcing himself on you, but will not rape you. It's not. I'm really talking about the word rape. So this is to be considered, when you make a law, you have to consider this fact. Just a knee-jerk reaction causing you to build some kind of a law may appease women for some time, but then the same law can come back and hurt mothers, because now their sons are being booked because of vengeance by a certain criminal-minded woman. And that stuff is happening. Now, when you notice too much of that, and you understand that is one of the biggest and most challenging problems, if you're far-sighted, as I may be, you want to immerse into a real problem. That's how I use my life. However challenging the problem is, I like to immerse myself in it in order to devise a solution for it, especially if I think it affects the future generation. I don't want children to get hurt the way our generation has gotten hurt, leading us to feel depressed or take medications and not really find the feeling of camaraderie, compassion, love with one another. I don't want that kind of world for our children. So I just like me, a lot of other people are looking at addressing the words that are going on around the character of men. There's total character assassination of men happening all over the world, and a lot of it is exaggerated, because when you see a trend of even a few handful of women actually acknowledging all men are a potential rapist, if that kind of language is being acknowledged by a large group of women, then you know that no, man, that's just going too far. Of course, a lot of women don't acknowledge it. They in fact would retaliate, because they know that men are also their fathers and brothers and husbands, and they're not such men. So, but still, if you find a handful of women even who acknowledge that word, then I would like to empathize with them. Maybe they have gone through something in life, some pain of that order, where in their perception that is the truth. So I accept that truth. I will not judge them for being men haters without a reason. And if they have a valid reason for their hate of men, which has come from their own experience and not by the propaganda of media, or their commissions and groups that have set up shop to address these issues by sometimes creating where there are none, creating issues where there are none, because their careers are sort of, made of these issues. It's like, if there's nobody falling sick, what would the doctors do? What would the pharmaceutical companies do? If there are no more criminals in the world, what would the lawyers do? If there are no more, no hate or division in the world, what would the politicians do? It's that kind of a matter, concept. So a lot of feminism in 2020 in urban regions is still speaking the language that the media got carried away with. So why does it start concerning a man? Because I always say, do hell with what media has to say or what others have to say about you. I say the women the same, that it's their karma. If men are objectifying you, if they are addressing you with words that are sexist, just think of them as lowly creatures, as you have been, and move on. It's wrong for them to do it, and they will pay for their karma. And that's what happened, really. Men were really doing that, and now laws have been written in such a way that you ladies don't have to even give evidence of being raped, and you can have the man inside the prison for a rape crime that he has never done, because he pissed you off. Maybe because he was sexist towards you, he was objectifying you with his eyes. Really, just if a man ogles at you in India, you can book him for a rape crime. And you can even make money out of it. You can extort money from the man and his family. The law has been written in such a way. And so this starts happening. Now, when this starts happening, then some men get concerned. And they're like, they do research, they look at statistics, and then they want to speak about this issue. And that they understand, they look into the origins of feminism, they discuss with hundreds of people, they interview hundreds of people to understand the issue from the core of it. And they realize that there are two key problems here. One is not realizing there was a reason Me Too movement of feminism started for, and now it has gone beyond that and absolutely swung laws against men. And when you do that, you give a lot of power to the judiciary and police. So the beneficiaries are not women. The crime against women is not getting reduced by this. The only beneficiaries are police and the lawyers. Because I don't think there's any statistics that would say, because there was no evidence required for a woman anymore to press charges of rape against a man, the crime of rape is reduced in the world. So please think about what I'm saying. I want your full attention on this matter. And I want you to reflect upon these two words, patriarchy and feminism, and revisit them. And I want you to question, why is it that so many women in the world are leaving behind the idea of feminism now? Why are we not taking up equality as a word? Why are we still talking about patriarchy? Why are we not discussing patriarchy has nothing to do with crime? Patriarchy was an unfortunate system, but it was there because of a natural. It came into being naturally. I mean, it came into being naturally because of the There was a time when men had to protect their families because that's the tendency, that's the biological, maybe that's a tendency we are wired with as men. We give protection and security. So if our family was threatened, we would protect them. And women would nurture their family with love and care. And, this was out of natural tendencies. Even today, if you look at it, women are not like men. Men could be greedy about success and about hoarding a lot of wealth and top positions in the world, over and above nurture and care of their family. But woman, if you ask her what would she prefer as success, if she had to pick one, love and nurturing her family, or making a successful materialistic career, a woman would choose nurturing and loving her family over a materialistic career, more often than not. If they were, I'm not saying women don't want to have a career. They are worthy of it. They can represent men anywhere. They can equal men in absolutely any career in the world, and they have even shown to rise above men in the exact same careers where nobody thought they could. They thought those careers are not meant for women. But if they were given a choice among the two, the materialistic culture, like the kind men drown their lives in, or nurturing their families and loving and caring the elders in the family, giving time to everybody in the family, women would choose that. And somehow the society got built naturally out of these tendencies. And it was only until recently it was so. Eventually, education started to happen, and on the largest media happened, education happened at a really large scale, and the women that were at home, from home, started getting informed, started getting an opportunity to participate, because earlier they weren't doing so much outing in a day like a man would. You take to look at absolutely any ancient epic story, from Mahabharata to Ramayana to anything from Christianity, anywhere, hundreds of years ago, you see that was the culture. And I would bet it was because there was no information reaching women of the outside world as such, because just it was a full-time job to have to manage that kingdom from inside. It's like and it's complicated. Just imagine, if you think the external affairs for a country, let's say country is a home, and there is home ministry, and there are matters foreign affairs, all matters of the outside, including defense, where we are being attacked by other countries. I'd say that the job that home ministry does is far more complicated than anything else. The real enemy happens to be inside homes sometimes, situations and circumstances within the country. The real enemy for India, for example, is not outside. It's our own system, lack of governance and corruption. And so, police corruption, which is actually Home Ministry is responsible for tackling that. The sick laws in our country, the sick pace at which judiciary serves our Indian citizens, all that are real problems. So handling the inside affairs I don't know when um, it started to be looked down upon, but now the culture is that women often get offended if you say that, most women, if had only two options, running home and having a career like men have, then if you say that women would choose to run their home well, run their family well, a lot of women get offended by that. Anyway, that's their karma. It's their bitterness, and something odd must have caused it. So I hold nothing against that viewpoint, but I'm making this video primarily to raise awareness about how to do a debate. To do a debate, you have to do a debate while you really have to sacrifice your time away from entertainment, and you have to really immerse in the topic of that which you want to debate with somebody else who is actually seeming to put his entire day and life into that topic. So, or have the humility to understand and hear from him. Don't judge a person when he's expressing a challenging viewpoint. So what I want to tell the women is that if you really truly if patriarchy is being discussed, and if you start talking about crimes men have done on women, from molestation, sexual assault to rape, then this is not related in my view, because these are crimes and these crimes deserve punishment. Patriarchy was a system that got naturally evolved because men were serving outside and creating organizations. They were organizing for fetching food, bread and butter, and protection for their families. Think of the ancient times. Men would often go kill animals and bring for food at night. So then they had to team up. They had to organize themselves so they don't die, and they also had to organize fencing around where the family was hosted. So that got extrapolated into an organized political democratic world, and most of it was represented by men. Don't hate men for it. It happened naturally, and then what naturally happened now was that women also got informed. They also started possessing knowledge to tackle issues. And they felt like, why aren't they being heard? Because now even they have knowledge. Now even they have the awareness of what the outside of the fencing looks like. And because the system did not have the views and voice of women at large, it led to a backlash, and and a lot of men actually acknowledged it, and both men and women together participated in the movement for empowering women. And rightly so. Now women have gotten that equality. I would like them not to talk about, patriarchy as if it's some crime that happened against women with an ill intention. I don't think it was like that. The women, I mean, so many women know me, and they if I'm talking about this, they know there must be some truth to what I'm saying, because I don't think they can ever consider me to be a person who would ever make a woman look unequal. They know I'm the guy who says nari tu narayani, nar karm kare tu narayan. तो मेरे कहने का शायद एटलीस्ट जो महिलाएं मुझे जानती हैं उनको असर होगा. uh, कि जो जो अगर आपसे कोई ये कहता है कि ज़्यादातर स्टेटिस्टिक्स पूरी दुनिया में जहाँ पे भी लागू किए जा रही है ये स्टडी, कि औरतों का फर्स्ट अगर स्टेटिस्टिक्स देखा जाए तो ये पाएंगे आप कि इसमें कोई बुराई नहीं है अगर ये स्टैट्स निकल के आते हैं कि औरतों को ज़्यादातर प्रेम से संबंधित माहौल पसंद है, जो कि ऑफिसेज में नहीं है। वहाँ पे तो लिटरली लड़ाई चल रही होती है, यू नो। वो जब आप नर्चर करते हैं किसी को जेन्युइनली अपने दिल से, वो वाला माहौल नहीं है ऑफिसेज में, नहीं। तो औरतों को शायद उनकी वायरिंग की वजह से उस तरह की स्टेटिस्टिक्स प्रोड्यूस करने को नहीं मिलेगा। शायद इसलिए जॉर्डन पीटरसन के वीडियोस में जो उन्होंने जो जिन फैक्ट्स को प्लेस किया है, शायद इसलिए वो फैक्ट्स निकल के आ रहे हैं अब दुनिया के सामने, जिससे जो एक आई थिंक जो धारणा थी समाज में, द माइंडसेट दैट वाज देयर अमंग पीपल about men having an ill intention towards women to have crafted a world like that for themselves is not out of an ill intention. It's out of their just lack of awareness and empathy for that life form which was not a part of that very system that governed everything around the world. But now that life form has a voice, and men have come in large support for that voice, and that's why it's gotten basically what men and women across the world did was that they respected women so much, stood with candle lights for a fight. I'm also one of those, to empower women to an extent that to give Brahmastra level, nuclear power to women in law. Make their word be the truth. Let men suffer and rot. Now, when that has fixed some problems in the world. Anyway, I went into the scenario of what is patriarchy, and I jumped into talking about what is men-induced crimes. Patriarchy and crimes by men be treated as two different topics, and I want you to look at crimes as crimes. If a man has done a crime, even if it is verbal, objectification of a woman, sexism. Not that women don't do it, but I am not in favor of either of them doing it upon each other. I don't do it. My friends, some of them could be found doing it, but I'm never in. And people who know me would never find me anywhere. I mean, I'm like an open book, publicly everywhere. You'd never see a single sign of my being, smelling of sexism or objectification of women. But I also don't shy away from saying that oftentimes the way women are portrayed in cinema or media or Instagram, just to some, unfortunately, to some men, becomes a matter of objectification. So now in a free world, women compare the size of their earrings with the size of the cock of their ex-boyfriend, and say the size of the earring is bigger than the size of the cock of their ex-boyfriend. So I mean, I think a boyfriend would take a lot of offense to a statement like that. But I wonder why. I mean, everyone has the right to say whatever they want. Give them the freedom to say whatever they want. Give them the freedom to wear whatever they want. The real need of the hour for human beings in the world is to understand that why do they get so affected by what others have to say about them? How can human beings not be in control of what they think about themselves to be their truth? You know, and how can they not understand that what opinion another person holds may be a factor of where they are coming from? It should not be made into a hate game, a hate of each other. We have to look at how many colors there are in this society, and we have to understand that it's not our intrinsic nature to want to pull another sex down. It may sometimes come across as that, a man doing that to a woman doing that to a man, if they are debating in defense of their each other's movements, like a man defending his character and a woman defending the stand of feminism, or a woman, like now you're noticing that there are so many feminists that are coming and speaking against feminism. I don't always agree with them, but they are making some really, really interesting points that I used to be a feminist. I used to be fiercely supportive of uh, the idea of empowerment of women, till I noticed what empowerment of women in law meant. And 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 then I noticed that, wow, man, men are dying left, right, and center because of the kind of laws that got made, and mothers suffering left, right, and center across the world for the kind of laws that got made. Then I started watching some videos of women that have made it their life's mission to call the bullshit that has now started to happen in the name of feminism. And I was convinced that these are the women who are now trying to bring the idea of feminism back to equality. And then people like Jordan Peterson happen, who are putting statistics and facts about why and how patriarchy happened, and why is it that no matter what you do on the in the line of fire on the border of a country, there will always be more men than women, even if there's an equal opportunity for both to represent a battlefield, or for a programming software job, which are going to be most of the jobs in the world in the future is going to be this. And he one of his interview comes up with some numbers about some country where it's evident that women are not interested in taking up computer science as their subject. Very few women are. So while knowing that the greatest job offers in the world in the future may go to people from computer science backgrounds, still yet they are choosing to be artists. They want to paint on a canvas, or they want to be designers, or they want to be nurses, they want to be doctors. So statistically speaking, the the the, the there would be more number of men in computer engineers than women. And that's because women are making that choice, not because they are not empowered. Google comes up with a study and says that it realizes it's actually paying women more than men. But just before Google ever did this study, there was this halla bol in the world about women are not getting equally paid. Well, of course, that's true too in some industries, uh, but tech entrepreneurs don't do that. I'm a tech entrepreneur. I don't think most tech entrepreneurs would ever even look at a sex of a person before deciding the pay of that person. So please stop groupism and stop generalizing things. Stop hating on men that are defending men. Please don't forget that men came in support of women when women needed to be empowered. Now, urban women have absolutely all equal rights to any man. In fact, more. They have the defense of media, and bigger than that, they have laws made to an extent. I mean, what can be a greater power than just going and making a complaint against anybody and not requiring any evidence to be delivered? But the man, the first procedure that would be followed on a man is man would be put in the behind the bars. He would be jailed. None of his evidence would matter. What can be a bigger power than that for a woman? Now I'm saying men need your support, and you'd be quick to realize why it is important to understand the other side of the story that has not been told. Don't go by how keywords on Google search will make such men look, as misogynists. This is the most complicated topic of our times, I'm telling you. Mark my word. It's more complicated than, communalism is complicated. If you are in India, you know that there's a lot of media facade behind communalism. It may not be very real. It's mostly vote bank ki rajniti. I want you to remember my word that even if you're a woman that has been unfortunately groped, sexually assaulted, if your modesty has been crossed, um, even if some crime like that has happened to you, just look around you. There are more men who would stand for you and protect you, and not even touch you without your uh, without your um, desire for being touched by that man. I wonder, why don't you generally say that the way men are being painted, just the reflection of how law has been made against all men, just the reflection of that should make you want to tell the world that it's wrong. This is on an assumption that every man is a potential rapist, or in fact is a rapist. Where you make a law like that, or every man is seeking, is torturing his wife and seeking dowry because the law says so. Now, I've been doing some study on this sleeplessly for the last many days, and I'm also noticing that women in India just don't want to have this debate. And I am so sorry that you don't feel safe at night in dark in smaller cities and towns of our country. But I'm also saying that if men of our country get to watch this video, maybe in comments below, they will come and promise you that if they see any man eve teasing you, or if they see any man discomforting you, please let the men have the freedom to say whatever they want from their mouth. Some men are just sick, and so also are some women. So I'd request you not to get bothered by that. Just be in your stillness. Don't be fazed by remarks of others. the kind of world we are entering into because of social media. It'd help you to understand what stillness means, how not to get affected by what others have to say. But if a man dares to come close to you, to harm you, to touch you without your will, then men like me will rip that man apart. So you will be protected. Please start going out. If you don't feel safe, mark my word, if you ask the man around you, will he protect you? He'll say, yes, that's my duty. And now it's upon you. If you think you want to also protect men, however best you can, maybe not with brute force, but with your support for the rights of men, then please look into what I'm saying. Please don't hate me for busting some myth in 2020. It was not the myth earlier, but in 2020, a lot of what feminism is doing is coming from a place of hate. A lot of how they're characterizing men is coming from a place of hate. Like, please compare it with what is being done to Muslims all over the world. For the atrocities of some Muslims in the past hundreds of years ago, the Muslims of today are suffering. It's like that, for atrocities of some men, mostly in the past, when there was no law and order. Now, the consequence of that is that law and order has gone against men. Why should you expect a man not to come back and speak against everything that stands to assassinate a man's character? Most men have gone spineless to not speak on difficult topics because they want brownie points. Please tell me, is that the kind of world of men you want in the world around you? Spineless men? Or do you want men who want to talk about difficult topics, even if they get written off, even if they are called misogynists, even if everything about them shows that they are absolutely liberal and equality in their heart is what they got right here? And yet they can easily be passed off for raising this difficult topic of feminism and patriarchy, and for the intention is to bring equality in the world. The intention is to save men from committing suicide because of wrong laws. This is the problem I'm after. The problems that women face are many, many, many human beings all across the world have, men and women together, have collectively worked on those problems and are already representing and addressing those problems. The voiceless, as far as problems are concerned, the problems of men are equally grave, but very few people are fighting for those men. So when somebody like Deepika Narayan Bharadwaj is trying to represent those problems, what you could do is you can just think that she's talking about somebody who also happens to be your brother. How do you forget that? Somebody who's your father, how do you forget that? And if she's saying something and so many people are agreeing with her, then instead of mocking at her, if Jordan Peterson is saying something, so many people are agreeing with him. Instead of mocking at him or criticizing him in like a matter of a second, it's like, just going on. And I mean, I remember I met somebody, and some conversation about Osho happened, and all they knew ever about Osho was just wild west, a wild country. I don't know. There's some documentary on Netflix about Osho and Sheila, Ma Sheila, that's what she's called, Osho's assistant. And they just, in 2 hours, they seem to understand everything about the man. And they're just so quick to criticize him. Similarly, you're quick to criticize people who want to represent the other side of the coin, who want to say, perhaps, that, look, they are not denying women were hurt by men. Women were raped by men. They're not denying any of that. They're saying, while that is crime, what's being done to men today, if you know anything about how laws are made, is no less a crime. And to bring that to surface, they have their methods. Sometimes the method can be something as simple as, showing that, look, even women are objectifying men on Twitter. Sometimes it could be as juvenile as women showing, look, some woman showing another woman as a gold digger, that, look, when a man asks for money in a marriage, then that becomes dowry. And when a woman demands her husband to have that much wealth, that much income, annual income, and and demands that much alimony, and to get alimony, slaps false dowry and rape cases on the man. When they're producing statistics and the world still is not paying attention, then these men and women who are fighting for these causes, which have not gotten any representation in society, at least so far, then they show memes, they show some tweets that show that women are no less at the games of lying, at the games of greed, gossip, objectification of men. They are just trying to show that while this is an equal world, if women are no more Sati Savitris. So, their intention is right. And they are trying to cover, in fact, uncover. I'm telling you, it's the most complicated topic in the world. The least you could do is pay some attention to what they're saying, rather than just remaining like a rock on your spot. You're not a rock. You're a fluid human being. Open yourself up. Recognize people by the fundamental they are addressing. If they are talking about, the problems of men and the exaggeration that's going on, they're stating a fact. It's not subjectivity anymore. They're saying that, look, read the law, what the law says. I mean, if the law says that women can never be pressed for adultery because they never do it. So we won't make any law where a man can press adultery charges on a woman. I mean, are you saying that women never cheat on their boyfriend or husband? But law doesn't consider this. For law, women don't cheat on their husbands and boyfriends. Only men do so. Did law want to do it? No. Women were empowered by both men and women in the fight of women. And quickly women got a chance to negotiate law. Men never got that chance. So this is something, an objective truth. And some of us want to represent that truth to you ladies. The least you can do is hear well, know us for our work, feel our pain, feel our truth, feel our heart, and if you do, don't judge us too quickly. I, for example, have written and covered over 50,000 words in my blogs with an intention to bust the myths of 2020 on all isms. The isms that have been going on for many years now without an iota of consideration for the changes that they have already brought, that they need to be stopped. Or we will destroy the very fabric of society that is made of men and women, both.